throughout that meditation, I just had some messages come through, and they were pertaining to the topic of the spirit and the body and the relationship between the two. What was coming through was that I was being shown a person, but I was seeing two of the same person, and what I was being shown was that the only difference between the two versions of the people was the inner happiness. And what I could see, basically what I could see was I could see the inner happiness in one of the versions of the person, whereas with the other version of themselves there was no inner happiness, and that reflected through their physical appearance. I'm being called to say that the skin is your skin reflects what's within, and your beauty is very much related to your inner happiness and the inner knowing of yourself. I then heard when the song "When Two Become One." See, I'm also hearing the song "When Two Become One," almost that when both the spirit and the body combine, that is when your appearance is brought forward. I'm going back to a personal moment. Not long ago we had somebody that was very close to the family die, and at their funeral it was apparent that their soul was no longer in the body, that their spirit had left the body, because the appearance of the body was completely different, which in that moment made me realise that your appearance is a combination of both the physical body and the spirit that inhabits that vessel. So I just pulled some cards. Well, I didn't pull some cards, basically I did the pre-shuffle, and whatever cards came out I decided to leave them in front of me so that I didn't forget what was coming through. I feel that when it comes to our appearance and our bodies, and our spirit, it was all, what was coming through was relating to forgiveness and the fact that when we cannot forgive ourselves, it causes us to have physical manifestations within our body. When we cannot forgive ourselves, for the things that we may have done, or decisions that we may have made, we overanalyze and we begin to have a internal battle, and instead of the destruction of that internal battle happening on the inside, it manifests itself on the outside. So it could be being shown acne and weight loss. It's almost like say somebody did something that was against their own moral code, that a dramatic weight loss can represent the desolate ruins created by a war. So I'm seeing like land. This is all representing the inside though, what I'm about to say. I'm seeing land, and it was all thriving and beautiful and full of nature, full of greenery and trees and buildings and things. And then there was a war, and after the war there was nothing left. It was just full of dirt and rubble. And that dirt and rubble, that change from the space being flourished and that space being alive is representative. It's representing the body losing weight. When we cannot forgive ourselves, there are big effects on our mental. We begin to hold these things that we cannot forgive very close to our chest, which blocks us from being able to receive love and happiness from other moments. It stops us from making decisions that could possibly lead to happy moments, because we hold past things so close to our hearts. And we hold them so close not because we treasure these moments, but because we're scared of letting them loose. We're scared of allowing other people to know what we may have done. Forgiveness to not be able to forgive the self has big effects on the body, and it's important that we try to forgive ourselves for things that we may not stand for things that we may have done that we may not stand for. I'm seeing that a lack of forgiveness in the self can lead to major depression and major insecurity. I'm seeing that I'm being shown that people who cannot forgive themselves walk with their heads tilted down, walk with their eyes towards the ground, because the eyes are the window to the soul, and if they walk with their head up, it's almost that they feel that people would be able to see things that they have done in their eyes. When it comes to forgiveness itself, I'm being shown water and almost like the sea, that whilst it can for instance, the sea, it can drown you and it can be overpowering and it can physically crush you, but equally when you're in water you're supported, you have more strength, you're lightweight. I'm seeing that forgiveness has both sides to it. It can be something that is both healing for the self and for the soul, but equally it can be something that is damaging not only just to the self but to the physical body. Forgiveness is something that is that people say that forgiveness is not something that you can see. It's more of an action, or it's more of a feeling. But Mother Nature is saying that you can physically see forgiveness. You can see it manifest in people physically on their bodies. You can see whether somebody has forgiven themselves or the people around them. You can see it in their skin, but you can also see if somebody hasn't forgiven the people around them, because you can also see it in their skin. And the same for forgiving the self and not forgiving the self. You can see it in your skin. It's saying that forgiveness is all about I'm being brought that forgiveness is something that is natural. Now, when it says something that's natural, what I'm feeling is that the component of forgiveness that is natural is that we as human beings know when to forgive. Within us is all the knowing when to forgive. It's just that we often don't choose to listen to that knowing. This knowing is something that it comes as part of the experience, because to forgive is to also to heal. To not forgive, it puts a block on somebody. So whoever you do not like, say somebody does you wrong and you don't forgive them, regardless of whether they know that you don't forgive them, they are still put under a kind of block. I don't know whether that's like a block of the heart chakra. I'm feeling more all of the chakras. Forgiveness. Non-forgiveness prevents growth. But yeah, going back to know when to forgive, it's natural, it's innate. So it's important to use your discernment in situations when you're questioning whether to forgive somebody or not. Equally, when you listen to your discernment to forgive and not to forgive, only when you listen to your discernment, to not to forgive can also be just as healing, because it means that you understand that maybe the individual needs a little more time to come to the understanding to why you may have reacted in a certain way, or to why you're feeling a certain way, or even to just come to a realization of their own actions, why they may have treated you in such a way. It gives them, when somebody is in a place of non-forgiveness, it gives them time to reflect on themselves and to see their doing in a situation. It enables them a chance to have the time and space to think about things from a different perspective. I'm hearing that forgiveness can come from silence. Yes, because when we are silent from somebody that we are trying to forgive, again, it allows us to look at things from an outside perspective. It allows us to look at things from a wider perspective. It gives us time to be able to go within, to reflect on the situations, to balance our energies, to see things clearer. I'm being brought to the children, and children have this, well, yes, like I said, forgiveness is something that is innate and it's evident in children. You could take a sweet off a child, and that child can still come to you for help, and will still come to you the next day for a hug, or will still try and talk to you, or try and make you laugh, because childs know, they know to forgive. And they know that people make mistakes, but equally, a child knows when not to forgive. You take the child sweet one too many times, or you disrespect their mother, they're not going to talk to you. They're not going to deal with you the same. They don't want to be around you. They lose respect. They don't forgive, because equally, in that moment, when a child doesn't forgive, especially when a child doesn't forgive an adult, it gives the adult an instant reality check that the child was very much so aware, meaning that they themselves should have been aware of their own actions. Forgiveness and non-forgiveness also enables people to be aware of their own actions. It makes people accountable for the things that they do and don't do, for the things that they say and don't say. When a message that's coming through from Gaia is that when you are connected to your heart energy, there is no need to be forgiven for anything, for any of your actions, because you're acting from an authentic place. You're acting from your true, I feel like I want to say true north, but I don't know what that fully means. You're acting from your signature energy. So yeah, you're acting from your signature energy. feel that forgiveness is a frequency of the heart. To be able to forgive somebody, you really have to tap into the core of your heart. Because to be in a place where you have to decide to forgive means that you was hurt to the core of your soul, to the core of your being. So if we are wanting to find it within ourselves to forgive somebody, tapping into the heart energy would help with that. I don't know why, but I'm seeing that maybe you sit in meditation with your hands on your chest, or you lie down in Shavasana, not with your hands by your side, but with your hands on your chest, with the person in mind that you're wanting to forgive, but also why you're wanting to forgive them. Instantly I heard forgiveness is a treasure token. When people are in a space where they feel that they are not being forgiven or that they need to be forgiven, when they receive that token of forgiveness, it's priceless. It's almost like it's another chance at life. When somebody has been given true forgiveness, they make a conscious effort to never make that mistake again. True forgiveness is a true blessing, and it's a blessing that we can all give and provide people. We can all, there is somebody for all of us to forgive, somebody that is seeking forgiveness from all of us. I'm also seeing for little things as well, things that they didn't even know they were being reprimanded for. I feel like the number 3 is important, and the Justice card came up, and what I'm sensing is that it's important for us to, that when we do forgive, to maybe say it 3 times. So, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you. Mother Earth is saying that we've all lived so many different lifetimes, and in each lifetime we've all been somebody different. We've been the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful. And in each lifetime we've made good decisions, we've made bad decisions, we've made amazing decisions and tragic decisions. And each lifetime we've been forgiven. Each lifetime our experiences have been placed into the wholeness, have been placed into the universal blueprint for the greater God. And just as Mother Earth is able to accept your wrongdoings and allow you to step foot back on Mother Earth, she's saying that we should be able to do the same. we should be able to accept other people's flaws and maybe their wrongdoings. Place those experiences into the wholeness, into the blueprint of who you are, so that you can evolve, so that you can lose the illusion I'm seeing smoke and mirrors. It's almost like people who we find it hard to forgive, and throughout our life when people do things that cause us to have to question whether we want to forgive them, they are reminders for us to remember that whilst there is a lot of light in this world, and that we constantly honor the light, that the shadow side of things play a divine role too. Forgiveness is one of the biggest teachings of being on earth and having the earth experience. And one could say that forgiveness doesn't derive solely from love and light, because again, in forgiveness, whilst it may come from the heart, there is also the shadow side to forgiveness, that initial incident that caused one to need to be forgiven wasn't love and light. So it's a reminder that this experience is both light and dark, that we must honor every aspect of this physical experience. We must honor every aspect of this physical experience. We're being reminded to not try and just ascend on the good things. It's important that we are including every single negative moment, every single sad moment into our wholeness, into our life experience, into our lessons, and into our wisdom. It's important to combine every single aspect of this lifetime into your divine blueprint. It's saying that people are putting the curtain over their shadow way too often. They're not setting a schedule for 10 minutes of shadow work a week. They're not even giving their shadow work a breather. She's saying that Mother Earth saying life is about balance, and it's important to balance and have balance in your experiences, and know that every experience is valid. and important. So I'm going to pull one more card from this deck. I'm seeing that your parents is very much so linked to, it's your identifier to each lifetime. Not your name, but your appearance. This vessel is what identifies you to each lifetime. So like, I'm showing the Akashic records, and say like I was to go to each one of my lifetimes, it's more like it's an avatar. So the person that I was, it's not my name with a draw, it's an avatar. I click the avatar and I enter that lifetime and learn those teachings. I feel that when we are coming to air from spirit and we're about to enter our mother's womb, your appearance is matched to your soul's journey that your soul's been on. It's also matched to the experiences that you're going to experience, but it's also matched to the energy and the frequency around your conception. What that means, I do not know. So I'm being shown, like being told, like, for instance, say a lot of the lifetimes that you've lived were to do with privilege, and you may need to experience, your soul may need to experience what it's like to maybe be oppressed, or to maybe have an experience where you could relate to somebody else. Then you may be placed into a black body. You may have an experience where you're placed into where you're matched with a body that may be a bit fatter. And these aren't things that are because it's punishment. I'm definitely not punished for being black, like, more than a blessing. However, it's just about lessons and teachings. It's just about soul lessons. And our appearance has a lot to do with the lessons that we are able to learn in this experience. Which, if you think about it, makes a lot of sense, because, for instance, just for being black, you experience a completely different reality. And that's the same for people who are maybe overweight, or people who are underweight, or people who are seen as ugly, or people who may be hairy, or different kinds of coloured hair, different facial features. Your appearance dictates a lot on how you experience Earth. As soon as we own our appearance, and when it comes to the appearance, it's not something that, yes, it can be owned on its own, but with your appearance, it has to be owned within the wholeness of your being. Whereas, like other aspects of yourself, like shyness and maybe being more secretive, those kind of qualities, they are things that can be accepted on an individual level. But I'm being told that your appearance is something that has to be accepted on a multi-dimensional level, because your appearance is more of a statement of who you are and your life experience, this life experience, rather than your name. Your name, you are not the body, but the body is a part of the you in this lifetime. When you don't accept your appearance, you are not, again, it's taking me to this disconnect in nature, and what it's taking me to is it's the co-creation component. When you accept your appearance and your appearance, when you're able to accept your appearance on an inner level, on a divine level, it's accepting that your appearance is a part of you. It's not who you are, but it's a part of you. So you're therefore able to see how that component relates to your physical experience, and that's the co-creative component. It's the realization of how your appearance helps to co-create your reality. I think that's all for today. Sending you all an energetic care package of peace and love. Namaste.